I see you. I see you. Actually, a greeting from the Zulu tribe. I won't say it in Zulu. But the translation actually means you're valuable and I recognize your humanity. That we're all connected. How many of you are not from Canada? How many of you English is not your first language? As I suspected. Love it. When I was in Indonesia in November, it was quite a sight when I said, I see you, when I begin every seminar and workshop that I do by saying that, to see people looking back at me that are of a completely different history and culture and color, and to understand that we're all connected. And so what I invite you to do now is take 60 seconds, greet a few people, look them in the eye, and say, with that understanding in mind of what I see you means, greet each other and simply say, I see you. Where's my, oh, there it is. So, I usually do it like a clap once if you can hear me, but this room has some really good sound quality to it. So I don't even have to be like, clap once if you can hear me. I'll just say so, which is what speakers should not start a message with. There's this guy, his name is Uncle Jim, and for a snack, he used to eat grass. Maybe I should have tried that before I got here. Uncle Jim was crazy. People thought he was crazy because he ate grass as a snack. Can I tell you guys a secret? It's not grass, it's spinach I cut up to make it look like grass. I'm not going to eat grass. That's crazy. Uncle Jim is crazy. I'm not that crazy. My Uncle Jim had great influence on the world, and none of us know who he is. Very few people know who he is. I'll tell you how and why at the end. Now, it says don't talk with your mouth full. Now I've got a mouthful of spinach, and now I have to say this. I should have done the I see you after I ate the grass. The spinach. All right. How many of you here want to make an impact in your family, your friends, your community, and across the world? Raise your hand. Because if you didn't raise your hand, you'd go somewhere else. Obviously, that's what you want to do. That's why you're here. And so there's 3 ingredients that I'm going to share with you today on simple things that you guys can do to impact the world in a greater way through communication. Have you ever guys heard the term if-then statements? Yeah. If I drop this bag of fake grass, then gravity will take hold of it and it will fall to the ground. So an easy way to remember it is ifs. Ever heard ifs, ands, or buts? It rains in Vancouver. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So ifs, so I'm cheating on English, ifs you do these things, then you will communicate with greater impact. First letter I, and actually could I have my scribe write the word influence on the board. Sorry. I told her I may use her, and then I'm like, okay, great, I'll let you know. And then like I'm here starting and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm letting you know. I, influence. I find out what pocket I put it in. What is that? The dinosaur. I'm going to walk around and show it because it's really small. My daughter calls him Patrick. Patrick the dinosaur. You love Patrick? Oh my gosh. All right, raise your hand and show your tattoo of Patrick. This is like before and after, right? That's awesome. All right, so now I have to ask you, because you'll know, what kind of dinosaur is this?
Is it a T-Rex?
It's a T-Rex. All right. Very well done. Oh, here, I'll walk through here with the chairs. So we have the T-Rex. Now, you guys don't sound like too shy of an audience, so tell me all, what does a T-Rex, we suspect, sounds like? Right. Now do it again now that you know what I'm asking for. All right, very good. What do we make fun of T-Rexes for? Right, which is really funny when I ask that to audiences and half the people go like this. It's just hilarious from my end. It's the only reason I ask. There's no reason why I actually said that. No, there is. And the reason why, sometimes we feel like Patrick, don't we? We have this mighty roar, we have this dream, we have this passion, this goal inside of us, but we feel like we don't have a reach. We feel like what we say or what we do doesn't make a difference. And so sometimes the mighty roar in us stays quiet. But we are more influential than we think we are. Say, I have influence. It's about the way I would expect you to say it. You have to bear with me because I'm going to go through a couple sociological theories. I'm so glad I said that word and it's on video. Sociological theories. And then I've got a hypothesis at the end about how we are more influential than we think. And there's a little activity afterwards for you guys to do. First theory, how many of you guys have heard of Robin Dunbar, the Dunbar effect? Okay, good. Not many people have unless you're studying sociology. Robin Dunbar theorized that our capacity of interaction and influence is limited to 150 people. And what that means is Oprah can have 2 million followers, but there's only about 150 people that would walk into her coffee shop she's at, and she would say, hey, come on in, grab a seat. We feel comfortable on a spontaneous moment to say, oh yeah, come over, let's have a chat, when it was not pre-planned. How many of you guys take the SkyTrain or transit? Okay. How many of you, well, okay, I'll confess, this is what I've done. So I get off, I go up on the SkyTrain, and I see somebody I know, they're not on my 150 apparently, because I go, oop, and I go back down again, and I'm like, I'm going to wait for the next train, because I don't want to stand there 10 feet away and be looking at my phone pretending like I don't see you. Which is totally going to contradict what I'm about to say next. But we have that 150 that we're comfortable with, and we can't really go beyond that. Now, 5 of those 150 that Dunbar talks about are intimate people. Best friends, spouses, parents, brothers, sisters. And those people, according to M.H. Granovetter, are not as influenced, or we are not as influenced by them as much as the other 145, which are called loose ties, people we see occasionally. Classmates, teachers, the barista you frequent. And the reason why is that you're already in an echo chamber with those that you're really close to. You either agree with each other or you already know what each other, you've agreed to disagree, and you just go, yeah. I'll give an example of how this plays out. I finished a speech a couple years ago, actually, and there's a coffee shop that I frequent on Main Street. And I walked in, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm wired, because that's what happens after I give a speech. So the last thing I need is an Americano, but that's what I get. So I walk in, and there's a new barista there, and she goes, hi, how can I help you? And I'm like, hi, I need an Americano because I'm not wired enough at the moment. Oh, why do you need an Americano so late at night? Well, I just got done with a speech. What are you speaking on? Great. What are you doing here? I'm here learning English because I want to go back to Korea because I want to work in hospitality. Oh my gosh, that's great. We have a nice little chat. And I leave with my coffee and I'm like, she's into me. Come back next time, she's working again. Hi, how are you? How did the test go for English? It went really well. How did your speech go? Don't have one yet. I'm prepping for one. That's why I need coffee this time around. I leave. She's so into me. She's not into me at all. What happened, though, was that we developed, and I'm glad, because what happened was that we developed a connection that never went beyond the consumer-barista relationship. Nothing crossed the counter or the line. But every time we talked, we had a 60-second to 3-minute conversation about our lives. You know, and generally when you order coffee, you just go, so, Americano? Okay. Have a good day, thanks. And there's no connection that takes place. A little more energy, a little couple more questions to ask, and you develop a relationship. Now, I haven't seen her in 2 years. but I saw her about 8 times, and now she's in my speech. Because every time I left, I felt better because I made a genuine connection with another person for 3 minutes. And every time I left, I know that the next customer that came in, she felt better. Now, how does she affect that next person? Because she's happier. She's got a little bit more energy because we took a little bit of extra time to connect with each other. Nicholas Christakis, the third sociologist, says that our influence is not just direct. I just don't influence Jeff because we're friends and he's the guy with the film. But how I treat Jeff and how Jeff treats me affects Jeff's friends, Jeff's 145, and their 145 to 3 degrees of influence. Not just them, but their friends, friends, friends. So how we treat each other, even in just the simple, small things with our loose connections, here's my hypothesis. Those are the 3 theories. Hypothesis is 145 times 145 times 145, write this number on the board, 3,048,625. To some degree, hypothetically, we are influencing millions of people simply because we treat one person a little bit differently. So now my exercise for you, you can write that, 3,048,625. There you go. That works. Oh, that looks like when I did math. All right. And then I've got some forms over here. Forms. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said forms. I'm so anti-form. I have some sheets of eloquence over here. And now I'll use that from now on. That will get passed out. And what I want you to do for the first exercise is I want you to start writing your 145. And you can't leave until you get all 145 done. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to get to 145. You may get to 5 or 10. Use your phone. It's okay. But start thinking about who's not my intimate 5, but who are those other people? Maybe it's the high school instructor that influenced you and you haven't talked to them in 2 years. Maybe it's that person that brought you through a hard time or the decision to come to school or that job interview. And you go, oh yeah. I forgot about them. Boy, if I saw them in the coffee shop, I'd invite them over for a coffee. Start writing those down, but there's a second part to this exercise. The second part is find one of them that kind of triggers a memory, and I want you to text them if you have their number, or email them. Text them is better because you get a faster response. Text them and tell them thank you. Thank you for whatever it is. Thank you for taking me out to lunch when I had that rough day. Thank you for helping me with math when I needed help with math. And what happens is, inevitably when I do this exercise, before the end of our time together, somebody's gotten a response back. So we do the question time a little bit later, if you feel free. You don't have to. But then there's always an opportunity for you to share what the response back was. Sorry. I lost my voice Thursday, and then I was at another event this morning. So I'm like, okay, I just got to get through like 70 minutes. But I can't dial it down, I'm sorry. It's either on or off. So, 2 minutes, start writing those down, find one, text them. I'll come back to you in a minute. Now that we know that we can influence over 3 million people, give or take a few. And the 150 is obviously an average, it could be more or less. Tell me again, I have influence. Oh wow, you guys are louder, kind of cool. Now, good news is, we're more influential than we think. Bad news is, we're more influential than we think, because I know there's certain days you want to wake up and you don't want to get out of bed, and when you do get out of bed, you don't want to talk to anybody, right? I mean, even the extreme extroverts still need a day off. I'm right in the middle, so I'm like 50-50. So there's days when I wake up and I'm like, oh, I just really want to watch Suits or Picard or something on TV and not talk to anybody. As I get some grins. Okay, Picard or Suits? Suits, okay. I've watched 4 seasons in a week.
I finished like in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's nuts. Okay, anyway. I'm going to divert horribly if we talk about that. But watch Picard too, totally different, science fiction. The idea though is that, and Simon Sinek says this, there's an emotional cost to connection. There's a sacrifice when we emotionally connect with other people. How many of you gone home from a hard day of studying or work and you don't want to talk to whoever's at home? Right? Wow. I didn't even ask for a hand up and people are like, yeah, that's me. One of the things I always coach when I ask a question is tell the audience how you want them to respond. And I didn't do that time and you were still all like, whoa! It's true, isn't it? And sometimes, though, we have to take those extra 5 minutes to connect with those people, those intimate 5, because there's a cost to it. Sometimes when we order the coffee, maybe it's okay to just be like, I'll have an Americano, thanks, bye. But you're going to be there anyway. Take a little extra emotional energy, create that connection. So my goal is, anywhere I go, and I'm ordering coffee or Fedora or whatever, it doesn't matter, then I want to make them be smiling when I leave. I've done sales off and on for years, and my goal wasn't to get the sale, my goal was to make them laugh. And inevitably sales would come as well, but my goal was even if they were not a fit, they can smile and leave. So next time the Fedora person comes to the door, you can, instead of being like, thank you for the food, bye, you could be like, oh my gosh, how's traffic? How you doing? Are you doing okay in the rain? Hey, can I tell you something? Has anybody ever opened up the door and they're like totally naked? Right? They're like, no. I'm like, well, come back next time. No, I'm just kidding. Edit that. There's a positive and a negative to that emotional connection because it requires sacrifice and nobody's going to be 100%. But if we're aware of it, then we can make that choice. Now, sometimes that sacrifice is overcoming fear and anxiety of talking in front of people, networking, job interviews, first date, first time in a class, public speaking. I focus this on public speaking because I also train public speaking, but it works for anything. Skydiving, you're going on a trip, you're scared of flying, use this same exercise. So let me ask you guys a question. Where physically, or what physically happens to our body when we're afraid?
You release cortisol.
True, what does that look like? Sweating, right, you could be sweating, for sure. What else? Nausea? Faster heartbeat, what did you say? Shiver, right, faster heartbeat, right? Tension, clammy hands, yeah. Shallow breathing, blood pressure goes up.
Shrinkage of the body, like,
Right, because you want to kind of escape. Right, yeah, exactly. Almost, not quite, there's a couple changes, but think about it. When we're really excited, what happens to our heart? What happens to our blood pressure? We might still get the clammy hands. Our breathing still gets shallow. It's almost the same. The only difference is that creates the other physiological changes is the story we say up here. Why are some people scared to death of jumping out of an airplane with a parachute? And other people jump hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and they get a thrill every time? Because of what we share up here. And I do this with public speaking. I was in a contest a few years ago when I started to go back into public speaking as a business 4 years ago. And we're doing a contest. I won the first round, went into the second round, had no idea what I was doing. First round, I kind of knew sort of what to expect, but second round I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get blown out of the water. Is like Tony Robbins going to come on the stage, right? And so my friends are with me and they're kind of joking around and bantering and I'm just sitting here going, oh, I'm so scared. So I thought, wait a second. So I went into the bathroom, closed the stall door, sat down and went, I'm not scared, I'm excited. And then I had to start telling myself a different story. Not why am I afraid, why am I afraid, so afraid I can't talk, but why am I excited? And this is going to be a living document because first date is different than standing, well, maybe not, but standing in front of a crowd of people giving a presentation versus skydiving. But you can create a new story. Now, I had to force myself to tell that story because my body was saying, you are just scared. And I had to keep saying, no, I'm excited. Here's why. I have a new audience. I have a chance to learn. And finally, I was able to start to control my breathing. Deep breaths. And then I was able to focus. You know, we have the fight or flight or freeze response. The fear will cause us to freeze. You've seen speakers. You've seen speakers, right? They haven't left, but they've left. But you've also seen ones that come up and really connect with people, and they're the ones that have tapped into the fight rather than the flight or the freeze. And I'm telling you, the room was electric, and I won that contest. Not to toot my own horn, because it's all been downhill since then. But the story we tell ourselves helps us and enables us to respond, to face our fear and overcome it, or to shrink away. Kind of like what you're talking about, where we kind of want to protect ourselves. So now, take 60 seconds, talking in the term. How many of you get anxious or afraid of public speaking? Good. Okay. So I've been in other rooms where like 2 people raise their hand, and I'm like, why am I here? But why are you here? But yeah, I've been public speaking since college, and even since like junior high, since like 8th grade. And I still got, 4 years ago, I was afraid, and I wasn't in 8th grade 4 years ago, even though I look it. No, I'm just kidding. So take 60 seconds and write, why am I afraid of public speaking? It's on your form. It's the very top one. And just write, why am I afraid? People will laugh at me, I'll forget what I'm going to say, whatever. Yeah, just that very top part. We want to write it because then it kind of comes out of the open. The fear comes out in the open because we can say, well, that fear is more afraid of you than you are of them. I'm not sure if that's true. But write down the fear, and then as soon as you're done, take most 60 seconds of that, because we don't want to dwell on the fear, but we just want to acknowledge it and get it out. Then reverse the story and start writing, why am I excited about public speaking? And that you can take a little bit more time on. Like 120 seconds. Some of you are still writing, some of you are done. What I'd like you guys to do now is get in teams, and this will just take a couple seconds, because generally part of what I'm doing here, it's been all customized for you guys, but part of this exercise that I do is part of like a 3-hour workshop. So we're not going to dive into it too much, but I do want you to practice verbalizing it a little bit. So get together at your tables with like 2 or 3 people and share. You don't have to share your fear part if you don't want to, although I encourage you to share a couple reasons, like here's why I'm afraid, but I want you to drill in and give a couple reasons about why you're excited about public speaking. And so just take a minute and go with that now. If you're still writing, finish up what you're writing, but kind of start to participate in the conversation. Think 60 seconds a person. So this is going to go no more than 3 minutes. Go. Be thinking about, if you guys want to share that in the group. I'm reserving kind of all of the group share that I normally do with a workshop kind of toward the end, because I want to see how much time we have, because I don't want to do a group share and then it goes like an hour and then you guys are here till like 5 o'clock. Which I can tell you do math, because that would only be 3:45. But not only did I overcome my fear in that competition, but part of the core of who we are is story, which is the S. I told a story. IFS. Influence, fear, overcome it, and story. You can communicate with impact. In fact, you already do. You already communicate with impact. Now, there's a formula for a story. But lots of times I hear when I talk about story, people say, well, I don't really have a story to share. I had a guy that was coaching, and he said that once he was kidnapped in Nicaragua and held for ransom at gunpoint until his company paid. Company paid, he was set free. Whew. Week later, I'm talking to him about telling me he needs to put more stories into his speeches, and he says, I don't have any stories to share. I won't repeat what I told him, but I'm like, come on. All of us have stories. Now, not all of us were kidnapped in Nicaragua. Not all of us have overcome a disease. Wait, all of you were kidnapped in Nicaragua? Because if we were, I feel kind of left out. Not all of us have overcome a disease. Not all of us were refugees. Not all of us had parents die at a young age. Not all of us have overcome incredible odds to be here. Some of us have. And those stories captivate us because it's part of our human history that connects us to say, oh my gosh, if they can do that and be here, then I can do this and be here too. So those are unique, unusual, powerful stories. But on the other hand, we also have these stories that say, my grandmother died. I got a flat tire on the way to the airport and I missed my plane. I took the wrong turn on the way to work and then I was stuck on the highway for like 3 miles until I could turn around. We broke up. We got together. We had children. I had a brother. I got a new job. There was a question on a test that I totally didn't study for. We have these ordinary stories also that connects us. So we have these stories that can inspire us, but we also have stories that can relate to us, and those are just as important. We need both. So if you've never been kidnapped in Nicaragua, that's okay. Don't buy tickets to Nicaragua after the conference. But think about the stories that connect. 8 years ago, I'm Canadian, but I grew up in the States. My dad died when I was very young. And 8 years ago, well, after he died, I was 5 years old. We moved to the States to be with my grandparents, and my mom's parents. She retired and moved up here. I helped her move up here and went, oh my gosh, I want to come back to Canada. I'd been here since I was 5, except for a couple visits. Felt like home. So I'm like, come on. Come to Canada. And I've been in acting, I've been in sales, I'd done some public speaking, middle income, doing okay. I'd just gotten into the Screen Actors Guild with a film that I was in. I thought, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity to come up here for film in Vancouver. Oh wow. Got connected with an organization, a company that actually works in the industry, 6 figures a year, and they want me to go on auditions. They want me to take time off from work to go on auditions. And I thought, oh, the universe smiles upon me. This is perfect. And then I got here, and they kept putting it off, and putting it off, and then it was gone. 6 months later, I'd lost my car. I'd lost my investments. Because the repo man came to take my car, the investments I needed to pay for food. I had kids I had to feed. I was looking through the cushions in the couch, hoping to find some change. When I found change, I had to decide, do I take transit to a job interview? Or do I say, hey kids, going out to eat tonight, McDonald's, buy you a big fries? The only reason I wasn't homeless, and you're part of it in my intro, but the only reason I wasn't actually homeless, because my mom paid my rent. My mom living on a pension in Vancouver downtown is paying my rent. And I had now, in addition to losing about everything, I had lost my hope, my ambition, my goals, my dreams, my confidence. And I'm walking along Main and Broadway. It's a homeless guy sitting on the sidewalk with a cup like this, drink beer out of it, frat parties. Couple pieces of change inside. And I had the legitimate thought of saying, is that me? Is this my future? And you know when you have those moments that they seem like this epic tale when you try and tell it, but in your brain, it's a flash. So I'm sitting here relating to this homeless guy and saying, is that me? And something, I don't know what it was, but something came and said, no, it's not. And I don't know what it was, but something rose up in me that said, no one's coming. All my life, I wanted to be the hero. I played the hero on stage. Then I played the villain when I got older. I played the hero on stage, played the hero on film. But I was never a hero myself. I was always waiting for a hero to come. It didn't matter if it was my fault that I didn't get that job. I knew then and there, because I kept blaming everybody else, that regardless of whose fault it was my responsibility, because no one was coming to save me. And at that moment, I said, fine, I'll be my own hero. I had nowhere to go. I had no friends, nobody to turn to. New in Vancouver, relatively new, but so poor and broke, it's not like I could go out and hang out with people. So I went home and I YouTube searched motivational speakers, stories from rags to riches, grit, overcoming obstacles. I started watching videos of Tony Robbins and Oprah and Vanessa Van Edwards and all of these people, and I sat literally for a week, my full-time job, I kid you not, 8 hours a day, weeping in front of YouTube. Something in me then started to shift. Something in me allowed me to believe that this was not my destiny. And I met a man named Mark. Mark hired me, commission only, to resell services like phone and internet. Honestly, I didn't do very well. But he kept believing in me. He kept putting me out there. He kept putting me in front of people to give presentations. He kept giving me business ideas because he's been a successful businessman for 20 years. And by working with him, I began to believe myself. And then one of our partners, we're talking on the phone, and he goes, if you don't love what you do, you won't make any money. Find something that you love to do. Now, I think his intention was to get me to love what I was doing, but instead I went, I don't love what I'm doing, so I quit. On good terms, it's okay. But that's what spawned me to start speaking, actually as an official business to start speaking. Well, what do I love to do? Well, I love baseball. I can't play that anymore. I love being an astronaut. Can't do that anymore. I love acting, but there's too many things out of my control. What can I do? I can speak. And out of that, I become a different person. How many of you have seen a Disney movie? Right. Okay. You know you can walk in at any moment in a Disney movie and know exactly where you are in the movie because based on the formula that the movie has. Same thing with Avengers, same thing with Star Wars, same things with Harry Potter. It's a formula that's being used, and I just did that formula. It's a true story. It's part of my contest-winning speech I told you about that I was so scared to give earlier. But I'll teach you guys the formula. Oh, I can write into the camera. Now, this is the simple version of the formula. There's like volumes of books and documentaries on this. You guys are going to get the short version. But if you use this, I mean, you can tell a depressing story and not use this formula, but that doesn't change anybody. That doesn't give you the ability to communicate with impact. You want to communicate with impact, this is the formula you use. There's a theory that we only have a certain amount of words throughout the day, and that women have more than men. And I'm totally not trying to say anything to open up a can of worms. It's just that there's a theory that women talk more than men, and that's why men come home and they don't talk, and women keep talking, and she's like, you're not talking to me anymore. And so I think I just hit that limit where I think I'm talking now, and now I'm done. So here's your life, and it's you. How many of you have seen, I would list a few and see who's seen the most. How many of you have seen Harry Potter? Okay, we'll go with Harry Potter. I usually go through like Star Wars and The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all of these, but we'll just stop at Harry Potter. So here's me or Harry Potter. We're living our lives quite normally. Okay? I'm living my life in Colorado quite normally. I come here thinking things are normal. Harry Potter's living under the stairs, right? Something happens that throws you off course. Now in Harry's life, it's kind of good and kind of bad, right? Because Hagrid shows up, but then he learns about Voldemort. I move here, hey, that's good, new opportunity, but then, the job falls through. Something happens, though, that sort of puts things on a trajectory of battle that takes place. So Harry's out of being under the stairs, he goes to Hogwarts, that's good, but now there's a bigger obstacle to overcome. So now you're in battle mode, and you have to go through these battles. But you're not alone, because there's other people like Hagrid. We'll just make him really big so we know here's Harry, right? And here's me. Actually, it's my legs that are long, not my torso, but whatever. We face these elements, but we're not alone. Harry ends up with Dumbledore, with Hagrid, with Hermione, with Ron, right? The collection of people, new people that come and help him. The collection of people that come help me wasn't even a person at first. It was YouTube. It was Oprah and Tony Robbins, but they didn't know. But then Mark comes along, and his friend comes along. And they help you and they support you and they inspire you through this so you're not going through it all by yourself. We're not islands. There's other people around that will come into your life if you let them. And then, at the end, there's a big battle. Harry and Voldemort. Me and my own demons of no self-confidence, no hope. Sometimes the battles are just within us, right? We face that battle. We're victorious, and we become changed. And I hate using the term level up, unless you're playing a video game. Oh, I just leveled up. Get more strength now. In real life, it doesn't mean anything except for the only way I can say it is that there's some whatever internally you decide is I was here, now I'm here. I was here, now I'm here. There's a new level that I'm at. Now, think about stories in your life where this has happened. Now, sometimes in your personal life, you're in the battle, but in your student life, you're on the mountaintop. And in your friend's life, you're just kind of hanging out. Like we kind of go through these weird waves in our lives where not everything happens at once, usually. But if I ask you, and I'm going to, write down 5 memories of your life, top 5 most impactful memories of your life, what would they be? Write them down now. And just as a sentence to remember them, because we're not going to have time to craft the whole story, but it's something that you guys can work on later using this formula to start saying, hey, how do I tell this story effectively? So take like 2 minutes and just kind of start writing those down. We evolved as storytellers. We're not the strongest. We're not the fastest. We might not even be the smartest. But we have the unique ability in our language as humans to be able to tell a story that can be passed on from generation to generation to generation. And those stories are built upon each other. The education is built upon each other. And so as a result, we have the society we have today. For better or for worse, this is what we have because we've been able to tell and retain stories which became legend and myth and belief and religion that turned into science and education and technology. We connect with stories. One of the responsibilities that we have when we're arguing facts and figures and features and benefits in policy or sales or whatever it might be, is to tell a story because people will leave and forget the facts, but they'll remember the story. Misinformation goes away when you tell a story and back it up with facts. That's why this is so important, to learn how to tell a story. It also means if you have to go to a networking event and you tell a good story using something like this, you stand out. Better jobs, better opportunities, better connections, better relationships. And you can tell a story in 6 phrases. I was a happy 5-year-old. I lost my dad. He died mysteriously. All my life, I've been looking for closure because I never had a chance to say goodbye. Somebody told me, well, maybe you should go back to Nova Scotia and say goodbye. Last July, I went back and said goodbye. And now I can move on. It doesn't have to be War and Peace. You can tell a story very fast. So be a story hoarder. Compile them, keep them. I have an Evernote file full of stories, and they're just the ideas. So if I need to find a story, if I'm going to an event or something, and I need to find a story, and I need to find something that requires humor or grit, or something with my past of overcoming relationships or breakups or fear or whatever, then I can look them up and go, oh, that's a story I can use. So I hope that you take the paper from everything that you have today, not just here, but everything that you have today, you take it and you hold on to it and review it once in a while and not just be like, that was a good conference, and then you just kind of throw it in the recycle bin like I do with most conferences. Be the hero of your story. Be the person that comes into other people's stories and remind them that they're a hero. Now we're going back to being more influential than we think we are. If you treat everybody like they're the hero of their story, you treat them differently. Uncle Jim. So before I talk about Uncle Jim, sure, when I do like a keynote, it's like smooth. I know when I'm starting and when I'm stopping. But it's more of a workshop, then I'm like, oh, wait, what time is it? How much time do I have? Let me look at my notes. I'll make sure I'm not going overboard. Has anybody texted you back? Yeah? Does anybody want to share? We can take a couple. But I'd love to hear the responses. What you said and what the response was. Yes, go ahead. Stand up. Yeah. Overcome public speaking fear. Yeah, there you go.
I texted my friend from high school. I said, hey, Dean, I just wanted to thank you for being such a great friend to me all the years. I don't know why, but you've always been so selfless and good to me, and I don't think I've had the chance to properly thank you. And he said, of course, buddy. That's what friends are for. Are you okay? How have you been?
Nice. And now you've reignited a connection, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Good. What else? Yes, T-Rex.
Yeah. So I texted my friend Erin. We've only been friends for like 6-ish months, so we're not super close.
Okay.
Super cool. So I said, hey, so I just want to thank you for always being such an amazing source of energy at shows we go to together, having a sweet taste in music, and I also have to mention your fantastic fashion sense. My response was 3 crying face emojis. Okay, wow, I'm so glad I met you and gotten closer with you over the past year. I adore having you as a friend. Thanks for being here.
Oh, sweet. And now you've just taken that, I see vulnerability and that connection, you take a step into the kind of like the beach, and you're going into the water, and then they take a step, and then you take a step. And you see how far the water goes until they don't take another step, and you're like, good, well, here's where we're at. But that's cool. Very good. Anybody else? What about fear and excitement? Does anybody want to share why they're excited or why they were afraid about public speaking? I mean, at least one person about why they're now excited about public speaking. Sure, T-Rex again. Yeah, there we go. You're on a roll.
I'll start off with the fact that I actually love public speaking, but I thought it was still interesting to think about what scares me about it. So my big thing is I'm scared of not being taken seriously, because I come off as just, I'm a little eccentric, so I'm always scared of like, well, what if people aren't actually listening to me or they're not actually like paying attention to what I'm saying? And the big excitement of public speaking is just I get to talk to people, I get to influence people, I get to stand up there and just yammer on, and people kind of have to listen to me for an hour, and that's kind of fun sometimes. It's like, haha, you're stuck now, and you just get to talk and be useful. It's kind of cool.
That is beautiful. And it's funny you said eccentric, because that leads me to Uncle Jim. And if you do have questions, certainly come after me. Certainly come after me. I'm a public speaker. Come afterwards, and I'm more than happy to answer. Also, at davidfish.ca gets me on Instagram, Facebook. www.davidfish.ca is my website. I think it's on the conference website. And so what I love to hear, though, is stories that have happened. Other people text you back, whatever. There's lots of times people don't want to share that in front of a crowd, but inevitably I have somebody come up with me or send me an email or whatever a week later saying, oh, hey, this is just what happened. And I love hearing that. So I promise I'm not selling you anything. I just love that connection part of it. Uncle Jim, everybody thought he was crazy. He was a World War II soldier. Apparently I pulled out the bag to remind you it's Uncle Jim because he's in the bag. Uncle Jim was a World War II soldier, and all the other soldiers were making fun of him until they found out he was a survival instructor. He was teaching other soldiers how to survive by making shelters out of twigs, what berries and what grass to eat. Suddenly, instead of making fun of him, they said, oh, Uncle Jim. Well, they weren't his uncle, but Jim, hey, teach me, coach me, help me. And he's no longer crazy anymore. Uncle Jim is the uncle of Sir Richard Branson. And one of the things that Sir Richard Branson says, Richard Branson, founder of Virgin everything, Virgin Rail, Virgin Air, Virgin Mobile, wacky idea billionaire, but he says one of the things he learned, he said him and Jim were not that close, but one of the things he learned was that sometimes you shouldn't care what other people think. And this is what Richard Branson says. He says, there have been countless occasions in my business career where everyone has urged me to make one decision, and I have gone the opposite direction. Which, if you know anything about Richard Branson, that's totally him. And he gives credit, in part, to his uncle. Richard Branson is one of the most well-known people in the world. His uncle is not. But his uncle influenced Richard Branson, and that helped change the world. 1 degree of separation helped change the world. We don't know who we're influencing, and listen to the crazy ideas in your life. Listen to the crazy people in your life, because they might be onto something. And if you're the one with the crazy idea, listen to yourself, because you might be onto something. We communicate with impact, and we do it whether we like it or not. And whether we do it positively or negatively, but there's a couple tools that help us do it positively. Excuse me, we just have to be intentional about it. Now, I don't know what Uncle Jim ended up with. Nobody knows if he had a house or a car or whatever. None of that matters. Because all of our stuff, everything that we accumulate and achieve and acquire, it's going to burn to ash. Now maybe brains can download into computers someday. We can live forever. Maybe we'll have a pill where we can live forever. That would be awesome. I'm all about that. Either way, everything that we acquire, achieve, and accumulate will burn to ash. And most likely, so will we. But the way we influence others, we overcome our fear, and our stories will ripple across this planet long after we're gone, because we all communicate with impact. I see you, and thank you. Oh, by the way, Toastmasters, Wafa told me, and I totally forgot. I even had them write it on the board and I forgot. BCIT has a Toastmasters. You asked me. Talk to Wafa or somebody are you in Toastmasters here? No. Okay, so talk to Wafa about Toastmasters. It's one of the things that helped me kind of refine my skills, but most people in the Toastmasters I went to, it was an entrepreneurial Toastmasters group. They were learning to hone their public speaking skills, overcome fear, get better at English, whatever it is. So find a Toastmasters and just get on stage. It's the best way to do it. Sorry, go ahead, as you were.
Yeah. Okay. We have I think it's called Breakmasters here, but yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Same
thing. All right, got it.
Copyright.
I won't say anything.
But yeah, no, I was wondering, how do you get into public speaking coaching?
I started at Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Because then because I was able to start giving speeches and people said, "Oh, you're pretty good." Then I was able to then for them to say, "You're welcome." They were asking for me to coach. So first I just coached for free. I would just be like, it's free. But as I start making those connections, then I'm like, give me $50, whatever. And then, so it took some time. But now I even coach somebody who spoke at the Tony Robbins, whatever, his one-day conference he has here. Local speaker, I had a chance to speak. She hires me once a year to help her with her speeches. And it's an hour for a decent amount of money. So it's an hour a year. So you do need a little bit more than that. But yeah, right. But yeah, you just build it. Show your stuff. People come to you and say, "Can you help me?" And then you grow it from there. But let me know. Email me, contact me.
No, I might contact you just for a little just a coffee and tell me what you do for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
I'll give you the real scoop because all that was a lie. I'm just kidding. Show what you didn't hear that. Go away. Right. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Are you
yes.
sharing your presentation?
I can be, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Just so we can get a copy of it. maybe
For
watch
sure,
over it.
yeah, I can do that. I'll do it through Jeff. Yeah, but I have to know who you are because I don't think BCIT is sending it. I think it's through me.
Okay, sure.
So,
My name is Banjo. I'll give you my business card.
Oh yeah, you have one. Okay, perfect. All right. Oh, great. Okay, perfect.
That's my personal cell, just because this is my work stuff.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
So you can have me on LinkedIn, whatever.
I will. Yeah, I'll add you and I'll absolutely send it.
Call, anything. Yeah.
He's really fast. I'll probably have it edited in a week or two, and then I can get you an edited version. That's fine.
Cool.
Like I'm not selling my secret, so it's totally
Yeah.
fine. It's just like here, take it for everybody to use. That's fine.
Just kind of like I didn't take notes because
Okay.
I'd like to just listen. So
Yeah,
that
I hear
maybe
ya.
I could go back and take some notes
Sweet.
and things like
Yeah,
that.
no kidding. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. No
Cool.
problem.
Nice to
Sweet,
meet you.
man. Good to meet you too.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. All right, you too. How's it going? Well, now the secret's out. You know,
yeah,
online.
similar to talking to my dad. Yeah, my dad.
Oh, really?
My dad had a kind of same story. Yeah, because I'm actually from India.
Okay,
We
excuse me.
moved to Italy. Like my father's company closed, so we don't have money to eat.
Oh my God. Oh my
I was
God.
only
I feel
12
ya.
and-
Oh,
yeah,
right.
So I was only 12
Okay,
and
right.
yeah, it's similar. He has a similar content about
Okay.
life, so it's really nice talking with you. Yeah.
That's nice.
That's
See?
yeah, that's you. So you who have to be your hero on your own steps.
Totally.
I learned, I would say like 4 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because
that's
I'm
cool.
here on my own. Without
You are?
any help.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody's here from my family. Just book a hotel and come here.
Well,
So
damn it, you're
that's
not
it,
alone,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Oh
no,
man.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
man.
Nice meeting you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. You got this.
Hi David, my name is Tanya.
Hi Tanya,
I
it's
would
good to
like
meet you.
Thank you for your speech. It's like very inspirational. For
Thank
me
you.
And
Thank
really
you.
To the point for me at the point of life I am there.
Okay.
If you don't mind, ask you a question.
Sure.
What helped you to find your passion and to find courage to follow it,
Whew.
especially being like at the bottom and probably having lots of responsibilities, like for your family. And
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's part of it was desperation. I didn't know what else to do. But going through kind of that hard moments taught me to keep fighting because I knew it couldn't get worse. Like I figured I might as well just do it because I have to try. But I think the big part of it, other than the decision to say I'm going to do it, was then to start, I didn't even know how, but I started to look for people I could surround myself with. Now Mark, who I mentioned in my speech, he's not a public speaker. He's an okay speaker, but I didn't go to him for speaking. I went to him because he was a successful business person and I wanted to learn how he overcame his obstacles in business so I could overcome my own obstacles in life and in business. And so I didn't know that when I first met him, but then afterwards I would hang out with him. I'd hear what he had to say, and it gradually started to change the way I started to think. So find people. You hear it a lot in inspirational stuff, and it sounds quippy, but some of it's true. Find people who are successful, even if it's not what you're passionate about, because you start finding those things and you start going, oh, that's good. Oh, I like that, And then eventually, that might fall right into your passion of what you want to do. So,
and sometimes ideas from another part of life is applicable to your situation too.
yeah. Oh, yeah?
It's not like the same field you want to pursue in your career.
Do you know what you want to do?
Like I'm quite new to Canada,
Okay.
only 3 years, and when
Okay.
we moved, I found out I'm not able to do what I was doing back in my country. I did medicine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
At some point, I came back to medicine, so I'm doing nursing now here
Okay.
in BCIT,
Okay.
But I want to do more.
Gotcha.
But like having all the obligations I have, like with my family, kids, and all stuff, so I'm like
Yeah.
thinking like how to find this courage to be honest with myself, to decide what I really want to do, not because of money or what others expect from me to do. But
And I think for me, part of it was also taking little steps. It's that first step where you're like, okay, I have other obligations. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of connections. But you know what? Today, I can listen to a podcast about success, or I can
I'm here
watch
today.
TV. Yes, exactly. There you go. That's a huge step. So you did
that's why I
that.
said, like,
Perfect.
Can I have this day for myself?
Oh
to
my
be
God, good
here?
for you.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, look through the notes of everything that you've learned. And the next day, find a
It's the
podcast
second
or something.
year I'm
and
attending
yeah.
this conference.
Okay.
It was awesome last year.
Good.
It's the same awesome as this
Good,
year, so.
good. Yeah, some days you're just like, oh, I can't do anything, but I have to do something. And it might only be 5 minutes. There was some days when I started to get started, and I know now, because I can still fall into being like, what am I doing? I'm not there yet. I should just give up, whatever. Like, I still get those days. But now I don't need 35 hours of YouTube videos to change me. I just change the music on my Spotify. And I'm like, okay, let me listen to a song that inspires me. And I really sit and I listen to it and I meditate and I think about it and go, okay, I'm better now. That's 5 minutes instead of 3 days. So as you start just kind of, if you start feeling yourself slide, do things that got you excited in the first place. Start doing those other things to say, wait, this conference really excited me. Let me look through the notes. Let me look at a video. Let me look at something. And then you go, okay, I'm a little better today. Does that help?
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Okay.
it really helps.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.